welcome to SJ Chat Room, and today we are very happy to have the one and only president of Kabarak University. She's the second female president, and she's going to tell us her experience, and she's going to share with us her experience. Welcome, Lorraine.
Thank you very much.
Yes, you can introduce yourself to the people.
Okay. Hello, my name is Lorraine Chemutai Kosgei. I am the president Kabarak University 2021-2022. I am also a law student currently in third year, and I think that's the basic. I'm also the chair of peer counseling in Kabarak University. Yes.
Wow. So, did you expect to be the president of Kabarak University? It just popped?
Not at all. I didn't expect to be president. When I decided to vie, it was late, almost the end of application is when I decided to vie. And when I went in to vie for director of hostel and campus security, once I entered into the race is where also the options now of being president came up. So I didn't really expect to vie for presidency for quite some time, but once the election period entered, it came to mind. Yes.
I understand that these elections were done twice. After the first election, did you feel like giving up, or were you so angry and felt like, should I really go for this?
So actually, it was quite tiring having to do a rerun. I had hope because I really put my work. Once I decided that I'm going to take up this chance to vie, I really put in a lot of work, a lot of effort. And so when there was a rerun on my side, I just felt tired. But rerunning again, I was hopeful. Yes, I was very, very hopeful because I did know that I can get this. So yes.
Okay, when did leadership come to your mind? Have you ever been a leader before, or it's just something that pops up when you campus?
So funny enough, I was never a prefect in primary school. I was never a prefect in high school. However, I held these positions of, you're the secretary of a club. I was the activities coordinator of my house. So it's leadership, I can say. I was just an inborn leader, but didn't want to show my potential then. And I think I was very young. So when the teachers around me, you know that you're young, they know that you can't really control the students quite well. And so when I came to campus, I was also a very low-key student. But last year in February, we were doing the training for peer counselors. And I was asked by my friends if I was able to write because it was a very impromptu thing. They were like, now that we are finishing the training today, we also want to choose our leaders. So I decided to vie for the position of vice chair lady. So the vice chair, actually chairperson, not chair lady, the vice chairperson, and I took it up and I was just asked to introduce myself, say why I would want to take up the position of vice chairperson in peer counseling. And so I gave my reasons and people voted for me and I actually got in. So from there, after being elected, some of my two friends, that's Laban and Tony, they actually told me, you could vie for Kuso or vie for Miss Kabarak. And then I just brushed it off because I never really thought I'd go that far. So when it came to October, the end of October, before the close of application, wanted actually to apply to be clerks for the election. Then I asked my sister, who was also a student at Kabarak, if can I run for this position of director of a ladies hostel? And she was like, why don't you give it a shot? You're always a little bit more social. You keep interacting with people. And then she asked me, okay, what do you feel yourself you're vying for? Then I just wanted a voice to be able to speak out. We were having a lot of issues. So that's what prompted me actually to vie. So when I went in to vie for director and gave my all, and when I took up the presidency, one of the motivating factors is the fact that I already had a leadership position of vice chair of peer counseling. So I took it up with a little bit of ease. since I had that experience from campus. Yes.
Wow, that's great. It's a very inspiring story.
Yeah.
I mean, you can just wake up one day and boom, you're the president.
It's not that easy though.
Yeah. So, what do you want to change in Kabarak, maybe, and also in the ladies' hostel?
So once I entered into office, since we always want reform, and of course, as a law student, people always expect you to be very radical about things. And so that power within me now came out. So I'd love to really see that the previous council actually left us in quite a good place in terms of setting piece of various things. So we are trying to streamline to ensure that we set up events for students to make the wholesome student experience to be able to be fun to students, not only about just the studies, but in planning for events, in trying to see that their needs are catered for. And so far, it's always a job that's progressive. Today you'll have this issue, you sort it out today. So in terms of the achievements, I really like in terms of ladies hostel, I ensure there's renovation. There are some of the needs that they want there, that they are all attended to. Of course, it takes us a step at a time. There are no things that can be fulfilled all at once. But I want to ensure that by the time my tenure comes to an end, those have been done. Yes. And in terms of presidency, I really want to ensure that there are projects coming and we see as the year unfolds. So for now, I won't really say the projects that are coming. Yes. Yes.
Wow, that's great, and we wish you all the best in your tenure, and we pray that God will lead the way. So, what are the challenges you've encountered now being the president? Has things changed? Has, the way people used to approach you, has it changed? How do you handle that?
So I never really expected a lot to change, but actually a lot has changed, especially socially. Of course, right now when you pass somewhere, they're like, oh yes, that's the president. So of course I have to create an impression. I always have to be smart, which is a good thing that it was already advantaged by the fact that as law school we always have the culture of dressing up quite well. So it wasn't much of a challenge for me. But the way people started perceiving me, of course people hold you highly and you're always like, oh my god, it's me. But people start holding you highly and you have to actually know yourself so that it's not swayed. There are expectations that people expect of me to do. However, are they also in line with whatever I want to do? So I do understand right now there are very many factors that I need to consider before doing some things.
Sure.
I can't just be reckless anyhow. Yes, so and right now I do carry an image. When they see me, they see the president of Kabarak. Sometimes people forget to see Lorraine, but they'll see the president of Kabarak. And so it's a good change. It's a good change actually. I really, really embrace it because it's teaching me in various ways. And I do believe that by the end of all this I'll come out a stronger woman. Yes.
Yes, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
So what are the challenges you faced? Maybe working, maybe doing your job as the president now.
So daily, as I've told you, there are challenges. Sometimes you're able to solve some people's problems. Some days you're not in the capacity to solve them. So of course, the ones you solve their problems, I guess, really is really nice. But in some capacity where you can't solve their problems, of course, some people will feel that you didn't really give them the needed attention. And then also, I guess, another challenge that I do get is the fact that now that I do work with teams most of the time, so you have to know each and every member. You have to be very understanding. So as much as I have the role between now understanding not only the students themselves, but also my council. So it's not much of it's actually a positive challenge where at the end of the day, I have to learn something out of it on that. Yes, but currently, and also of course, trying to juggle between studies and leadership. And right now we're almost at the end, so you also have to put some effort. So trying to balance all that is something also.
Apparently, that was my next question. How are you able to balance between being a leader and studying at the same time? I know it's not easy.
Yes, actually, I hold several positions. Now I am the director of hostel. I am the president. I am the chairperson of peer counseling now that I was promoted. And also, I'm a peer counselor. I have a certificate in counseling psychology, and then I'm also a law student. So it's actually quite challenging, but I try to take each day at a time. I try to set priorities because my studies, of course, are a priority, but also leading the students is a priority. So there are some days, especially Mondays, you'll find me doing more administrative work, work in the office. Then on Thursday and Friday, I do have a lot of classes, so I do concentrate on my studies more on Thursday and Friday. So it's trying to take each day at a time, trying to balance as much as you'll never find the actual balance. Today you'll give this one 70%, the next day you'll give it a 30%, a 20% someday. So it's just trying to see how also I can do all this and also protect my sanity because I think my mental health is very important to be able to lead students. I should be able to also figure myself out to ensure that I am okay myself so that the rest can be okay. Yes.
Do you think that in Kenya and even worldwide, women have been empowered to take up leadership positions?
So I'd say I'm very grateful that I myself, the people who surround me, are very encouraging people. However, I don't really think we have reached that position where we can say women are empowered to take up leadership position. For example, recently I was at a school somewhere in Nakuru. I'll not mention the name though. I was at a school in Nakuru and it was a girls' school. And a friend of mine was also with me, so he was the one who was introducing me. And they say the president of Kabarak University, she's a law student, and you could see the gasp in all the ladies' faces, the girls' faces on the mention of that I am a lady. So of course that created an impression of me. Why don't you expect a girl to lead? You see, so it's for young children and young girls. They need to really be empowered and be told that these positions need to be taken up by us. So we do realize that there are a lot of affirmative action that, in terms of Kenya now, the government has taken to ensure that women are in more leadership positions. For example, the Women Rep seats, trying to encourage more women to join politics, and also the two-third gender roles, no matter whether it's national government or just in these offices, these major offices. So there's a lot being done. However, we also need as women to embrace it. We need to also feel that we deserve these positions because I deserve the position that I hold. I did my campaigns. I also fought my fight so that I can get here. So there's need for more empowerment. There's actually need for more empowerment as much as there is empowerment right now. There's need for more girls to be told that they can lead. And there's need to tell them that you don't have to dim yourself so that others can shine.
Yeah.
So you have to shine. You're the star. You have to shine. So if we continue also limiting ourselves as women, we won't get there. Because personally, if I'd be timid enough and say, okay, I'm not done because I am a lady, then of course I wouldn't be here. It would be a different story. So I do feel that there should be a lot of encouragement, especially since we are raising a new generation now. We need to tell them, to hammer it in them that you're the best, you can do it. And I'll cite into the fact that also I have experienced that where I never really wanted leadership positions, but right now I'm here. I'm trying to also try and empower those young girls who they feel other than average, them they're just okay that way. No, you're not. You should be able to strive to ensure that you get further, you get to your limits. So if you have a limit, you test it, ensure that you get there. Yes.
So what do you think are the measures that should be taken to empower these people?
So basically, they should, first of all, I don't just go for empowerment of just ladies, but also men. So what should be done is we should be able to encourage them through maybe mentoring, especially mentoring. It takes a lot for just one person to mentor people. You can say there's this organization mentoring this one, but we all must realize that we are all different actually. We are different, and the way we take in some certain things are not the same with others, how they take in. There are those students who always hear, who always feel they have to go far. What are these students who are here behind who don't feel like they'll go that far? There's some kind of encouragement where you need to show them that. By the way, simply because today you're the last one in class doesn't mean you'll forever be the last one in class. And you do realize that motivation, you can't, words of affirmation, I always say daily, you have to refresh, read things like the Bible, you have to read the Bible daily again. You can't say, since I read my Bible on Sunday, I won't read it again till next Sunday.
Yeah.
So it's about the constant. Now that these older generation that mentored us are now leaving. Now what are we doing? We are trying to mentor these young kids also, since as we were mentored too.
Sure.
Yes. And also you see there's a reality, telling kids about realities of the world. You can't you have to tell them the challenges that you're facing, not only the glory. Because when kids see as if you're just there and you got there miraculously, they're just like, that's her. But now, if they don't know about the things that we go through, the challenges that we sometimes go through, they won't feel that motivated to try and strive. They'll just classify you as, that one was a lucky one. Yes. So, majorly, I'd say we need to do a lot of mentoring, and not only for ladies, but also for the gents. They should also do mentoring for their guys. Yes.
That's great. I think also campaigns of empowering people to be in leadership. You see, people are really fear to get into these specific positions, but I think it's a good thing. It's good serving the people. Someone feels fulfillment, a certain kind of fulfillment serving the people. What advice would you give these people who want to get into leadership? Maybe ladies or gents.
So first of all, I've heard what you actually talked about. There's something about fear. We all have fear. I don't think there's anyone who doesn't fear. We have to take risks sometimes, and before you take that risk, it's a risk because you fear. But however, our fear should not be the one putting us down. The same thing with failure. Simply because, let's say, you failed in something, doesn't mean you're failing another thing, doesn't mean you shouldn't try. So fear is actually a factor that's everywhere. Some days you wake up, I think the one slogan that has really kept me going, and I think will keep me going for life, there's a clip by Rihanna, which is always saying that you be fearless every day, and on days that you don't feel like, just pretend. Once you will, no one knows before they try. I was never president before. I am running on my job. So we should always, sometimes we have to put our fears aside. You have to try it, because the fact that you're trying it is now when you know. Is it possible? Is it not possible? So you should always, and of course, there's always a lot of societal pullback, where you find that you feel like, what will people say? How will people react to it? But you do realize that we only have one life, and that life is yours. And there's a matter of choices. There's always a lot of choices we have to make. So if you choose to take up that position, if you choose to vie, if you choose to take up anything, whether it's your studies, starting your studies, it's you who is deciding, not the society who is deciding. So sometimes we should just look clearly into our conscience and also have intentions which are good. Because there's nothing as fulfilling as intentional leadership, when you know that this is not about benefiting me, but it's about benefiting the rest of the people. And that's why you'll find yourself pushing yourself now that you're a leader to go to lengths for other people rather than even yourself. There's no day that I can ever wake up and say, today I don't want to serve the people, but tomorrow I'll come back. There's no day. And that's why even on days you don't feel like, you just have to pretend. And you also do understand that we are all humans. And of late, there's been embrace of feelings, embrace of people showing their emotions. And sometimes it's a really nice thing. You have to express. On days I feel down, I'll have to go to maybe one of the people in my council, whether it's my vice also, and tell them, like, I don't feel this way and this way and this way. Can you help me out here and here and here? So we should not always also fear asking for help. We should not fear asking for advice, because I do think one of the things that always has me on toes is the fact that I do ask for advice a lot. So whether it was in taking up even a step to decide to buy, I asked for a lot of advice. I sought advice, and especially you should also know who you're seeking advice from. Yes, I asked for a lot of advice when I decided to vie for presidency too. I asked for advice. What can I do? How is it actually? The experiences. And right now, even as I am in office, I still do ask for a lot of advice, not only because we are still young. We always don't know what's ahead. We are still young, and so consultation is always really nice. So do ask for advice when you're taking up something, so that the experience, you might know the experience, and it might be also easier for you, since you know that you're not the only one who's going through that. Yes. Yes.
That's great. You mentioned something about not trying it out. I always say, have nothing to do.
Yes.
Apparently, you have everything to gain.
Yes.
Because if you did not try, this is very hard, I cannot try. You had everything to lose. But here, you've tried and you had everything to gain.
Yes.
So out there, you have everything to gain if you try. Yes. Probably there's something we've left out and wanted to add it to the people. You can do it before we wind up.
Okay. So I am quite a wordy person. So I do love the fact that you can regulate. Yes. So for me, I also think another important thing is always your support system. Ensure you have a support system that's good, because some days are challenging, especially as the women in leadership. Some days are really challenging, and you find yourself breaking down. But when you have a really nice support system, for example, for me, I'm very grateful that I have an amazing support system. You find that things get a little bit easier when I'm able to share with my family and my best friends about whatever is going on. At least they're always able to hold me up, and they do know the Lorraine that existed outside of presidency. Other than now, the Lorraine who is the president, they do know my potential. They do know that I am going far. So, of course, having that and having to know that you always have people who back you up is really, really important. And encouraging people also, because not everyone has a good support system, but try and find people who will become family, who will always be there for your wins, be there for your losses, not only be there for your wins. Yes. And I guess generally also, we should really, it's not quite a hard thing to be able to be here. However, there's a lot that counts, including your mindset, changing your mindset. Because generally, as I said, I was never really a leader before. But what happened was I decided to level up. You do know that the goals you're setting, you do know where you want to go. So to be able to reach there, how are you getting there? So what you want, where are you going, and how are you reaching there? So of course, for a very long time, it's always really comfortable being an average person. It's always very comfortable when I can actually just wear my hoodie, wear my trousers, and just become incognito and no one recognizes me. It's always really nice being average though. But sometimes you have to sacrifice that to create a new person in you, a person you want to see, a person you want to be. So for me, I think what really changed was my mindset. I decided to become a better person. I always knew I wanted to be this powerful woman. And you always don't know it all, by the way. You always don't. You just have a figure that this is the way I'd like to be like. For example, for me, some of my inspirations are people like Lucia Mustao. And you find that them in their own capacity, they're that way. But for me, I do derive a lot from different people who will mentor me to become one unique person. That's why I don't have really one unique role model. It's just that I draw inspirations from various sides. So when you decide to change your mindset, you decide to become who you want to be. That's where a lot changes. Yes, yes. So yeah, I think that's the much I can say for today.
Thank you very much for coming. We're happy to have you and hope to have you within, we hope to have you more times and with different topics. You're very much welcome and we appreciate it a lot.
Thank you very much. I'd be very glad maybe to do something about mental health with you, since I'm also passionate about that. And also maybe go places with you. Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you for hosting me.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.